alumina, A-L-U-M-I-N-A, alumina. And if you dry alumina out, and you take it to your metal processing plant, you take it to your smelters, you process that dry alumina powder into liquid aluminum. The smelting process, smelters, aluminum smelters, big aluminum smelters, giant aluminum smelters. He started sleeping at his smelters. Sabotage in his smelters. Came to his smelters. Very brutal start, right? Sleeping in the smelters.
Well, like I always say, whoever smelt it. All right. It started with a tweet. President Trump claimed President Obama had bugged him. Now, maybe he was wrong, although Mr. Obama has been strangely silent about this accusation. Could he be hiding something else besides his birth certificate? It's a joke. Anyway, critics mocked Trump, and friends hoped this whole thing would blow over. Then Devin Nunes says this.
I recently confirmed that on numerous occasions, the intelligence community incidentally collected information about U.S. citizens involved in the Trump transition.
Well, put me in a blonde wig and call me Sally. Really, I want you to do that. After the show. Maybe Trump wasn't totally wrong after all. Maybe he was just half wrong, which makes him half right, which among politicians makes him a genius. Which then upsets this guy.
I can say this. The chairman will need to decide whether he is the chairman of an independent investigation into conduct which includes allegations of potential coordination between the Trump campaign and the Russians, or he is going to act as a surrogate of the White House because he cannot do both.
Well, in case you don't know, that's Adam Schiff. I know you first thought it was Sheriff Woody from Toy Story. He gets that a lot. He has fewer features than a prepaid phone. Could you imagine trying to give a description of him to the cops? Officer, he had 2 eyes. Back to the incidental collection. Back to the incidental collection of Trump's people. Now, that's not a big deal. We're always incidentally collecting something. It's like when you're in your apartment bathroom and you can hear through the vent that someone just got dumped by their boyfriend. And they're crying. It helps pass the time after a bad meal at Taco Bell. Or it's like smelling fish being cooked down the hall. All day, this guy in 13J is broiling cod. Either that or he died. I should check on him. But the crime isn't the hearing or the smelling. It's the sharing. When the victims of the collection were unmasked and then circulated. Sure, maybe the people were easy to identify, but that's like me saying I slept with that stripper because strippers are easy. That doesn't work with the wife, unless she's the stripper. But let's face it, if these leaks were of Obama's team, the media would suffer from outrage diarrhea. You'd need a tanker full of Depends to prevent that mudslide. That's a nice image. Now, this doesn't vindicate Trump, but it does not vindicate him. He may have been wrong on Obama specifically, but generally speaking, what happened is enough smoke to maybe look like fire. And for Trump, that's a win. It's funny, even when he's losing, he ends up winning because the nuttiness of his enemies makes him right by comparison. It's like when a girl hangs around chubby friends so she appears thinner. Or back when I was single, bar hopping with horse jockeys. Suddenly I was the tall, mysterious stranger. Now, Trump appears right when surrounded by so much wrong. Besides, even if Trump makes a mistake, it's not like he's going to admit it, and nor will his loudest supporters. It reminds me of you-know-who. Yeah, if you ask President Obama what his biggest mistake was, he'd say that I was too perfect. And the media would nod in unison, puckering up like starry-eyed blowfish. Let's welcome tonight's guest, shall we? Yeah, let's do it. He's brainier than a zombie's brunch. Jonah Goldberg, National Review senior editor. This man is so sharp that balloons consider him a hate crime. Democratic strategist Chuck Rocha. She always laughs at the end of Old Yeller. National Review reporter Kat Timpf. Awful person. And finally, his seesaw partners keep quitting. I wonder why. TNA wrestler Tyrus. All right. Before I get into this whole collections versus Russian collusion thing, what is with the sweater cape, Tyrus?
You don't like this? This is style, man. This is something. This is hip.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No,
in my community, it's very
like
hip.
a hipster threw up on your chest.
First of all, chest throw up, that means you're short. No, this is style, man. It's actually from New York. They made it for me. It's called a hoodie cape. You know, I can't wear a tie because I have neck issues because my neck's bigger than ties, so I have to change it up. I can't wear the same sweater every week. All right.
That was a hit at me. Okay, I'm going to move on now, Jonah, to some serious stories.
Okay.
Not about the mistakes he
made. Cape!
Sweater cape. Jonah, what do you think about Nunes involving himself on this? People think he's covering for Trump. Other people saying he's the heroic whistleblower.
Well, I'm conflicted about this. You know, my attitude towards politicians is sort of like what lab researchers is towards lab animals.
Yes.
You don't want to get too attached, right? Because, like, it's much easier to stick a needle and test subject 47B than Fluffy.
Yes.
Right? And I know Devin Nunes. I respect Devin Nunes. He's a smart, serious, capable guy. I think he kind of messed up here.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think he stepped out of line from the role of oversight for the Intelligence Committee, and he's trying to play a double role, and that's why he's been trying to walk this back for the last couple of days.
Interesting. What do you think, Chuck? Do you think he might have some? I mean, like, doesn't this kind of help Trump?
I think it does a little bit, but I'm still going back to, since I'm a political consultant, that means I'm also a lab rat trainer.
Yeah.
That's what I do for a living, is I train small animals how to act right. And he pivoted wonderfully. Even as a Democratic consultant, I would be going, that's a good boy. Way to pivot. Way to give your base a little bit of red meat so you can keep them involved in watching alternative facts, but still keep them out there. Look, he's in a hard position, right? He's in a district that's about 70% Republican. He needs to make sure that he's feeding his base to make sure he don't get Republican opposition. And this is what you do when you're a politician, which makes it bad, which makes it our politics bad, which makes Capitol Hill broken. And it's proven over and over again.
Yes, but that's why Trump, Kat, has emerged again victorious. See, I'm trying to keep my base going.
His wheat harvests in the Ukraine will be better than ever under his 5-year plan.
Terrible.
There's a lot of things that are still being investigated. We don't know everything yet. I'm concerned about Russia. I'm concerned about privacy. I think before we know everything, the best thing to do is just to stay worried about everything.
Yes.
And some people say that makes me a pessimist, but that makes me fair and balanced.
No, it's true. And also, if you think everything is bad, if something turns out good, then you're kind of happy.
Pleasantly surprised. But also, just don't prejudge before. Assume that you've got to stay worried.
Stay worried all the time. Tyrus, if Trump ends up being half right in this new reality of Trump, it's all right. Right?
Look, man, as far as homie goes, man, bro before Democrats. So I'm cool with that. He heard something, and we don't know what exactly he heard, but he felt it was enough for he needed to let his president know.
Yeah.
So I understand. And the independent Democrats are going to say what they're going to say, Republicans say. So that investigation is a wash.
Right.
So he's better off looking out for number one. And that's what he did. So I have no issue with that.
I think the issue is that he told the media.
Yeah, he got out there. He should have probably gone to Buzz Lightyear or whatever the guy's name is from Toy Story.
Nobody has secret rendezvous anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ixnay and the Batcave, you know, and then they show up and like, look, they had some stuff. There's some pictures of some girls. Cool, good looking. Thanks, appreciate it, but we got this. They just walk in the thing and, hey, guess what? And everyone's there. Like, get a secret hideout, you know?
Yeah.
Like, damn.
It's true. As a kid, I always thought by this time in my life I would have a secret hideout.
I have several.
I do. It's called my apartment.
No one will find you there until that smell.
Too late. Yeah.
And the neighbors start getting really worried. And then there's that article in the New York Post that says she kept to herself. And she was eaten by her cats. You know,
one cat.
Well, there'll be more by the time this happens.
More cats are in your
you have 8 cats written all over you. You know what this is, Jonah? Okay, it's like you're seeing the Russian story and the leak story. The Russian story is the Dems. The leak story, they're like two hobos in the street fighting over one cigarette butt, right? It's like they both cancel each other out.
You know, I think that's right, and this is the problem, is that no one wants to sort of walk and chew gum at the same time. The leaking was really, really bad.
Yeah.
And the problem is everyone thinks that all leaks are the same. What they did by leaking this NSA transcript stuff is like orders of magnitude different than your normal leaking.
Right.
People should go to jail for years because of what they did. But the problem is that the people who hate Trump hear leaking and their eyes glaze over.
Yeah.
And the people who love Trump, they hear the Russia stuff and they say that's old news.
Yes.
So no one's talking to each other about this.
No, it's just like this. See this? Close up on this. This is what's happening. I just came up with this. You know what I love, Chuck? Yeah, I do have problems. Time magazine, Trump said, "I must be doing something right. I'm president and you're not." Isn't that what you would be thinking if you're president?
That's what I'd be thinking every time I was about to lose an argument. Typically, I said, your mama. You know?
It's the argument that I lead with every time I walk into the DNC.
Yeah.
When I'm like, look, everything's great over here, and I know everything is wonderful, but have y'all not noticed who the president is?
Yes.
We need to change the way we're doing things, because he has not only stolen our narrative, but he steals a lot of our talking points.
Yes.
And here we go.
No, he is. He's
absolutely right.
He's the best Democrat.
And he's the president.
Yes.
If you don't believe, ask him.
Yeah, that's true.